discussed The Fall. There's one other role. Well, there's two other roles I want to talk about, and you know which one's coming. And you've been very clear when talking about 50 Shades of Grey that it was, it was what it was.
Yeah.
A great role. When that one came to you, did you hesitate?
Yeah.
How long for?
It's very odd, Jay, to be honest, because you are presented with this incredible opportunity that is going to, have a big impact in your life and change many things. To be honest, mostly, financially, but again, in career, open so many doors and blah blah. But you sort of know that it's going to get panned. Very strange thing. You're trying to do the best you can and make the best of it. But we knew that because the books were sort of adored by many, bought by many, but panned by many. Probably going to be the same thing for the movies. You know what I mean? It's not like suddenly everyone who thought the book was badly written is going to go, oh, but the film
is a masterpiece.
That was never going to happen. They're a great joy to be a part of. And crazy kind of journey to go on, but also above everything else, they are just a job, and it's just a film set, and it's no different than any other film set. You're just simulating more sex than you are in other films, but you're still just going to work in the morning and having like a family environment like you do in any other film set.
With Dakota, had you worked with her before?
No, never met her before. No. It was she was already cast before me. Then they cast someone else who was meant to do my part as well.
Do we know what the name of that other person was?
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. And then for various reasons that didn't happen, and then suddenly it sort of opened again. I had been in the fold before that as well,
Sure.
Didn't come from nowhere.
No, absolutely. That's one of the reasons they cast you, sure.
Yeah.
But just to return to a subject which is relevant to the enormous plate of beef and potatoes that you have in front of you.
Yes.
One slight difference in this role is it did require you to take your clothes off.
Yeah.
That requires body confidence. Or not. Or was that something that's just apart from you? That one you actually sighed and looked at the table slightly in distress.
It does it again. I mean, I hate talking about this shit. Well, I guess the first movie, because of the situation with the casting, I only found out I was doing the job 5 weeks before principal photography started.
Did you hit the gym big time?
I tried to, mate, but my fucking hell. My wife was 36 weeks pregnant, and we had to find a way of getting to Vancouver before having the baby, and then get our heads around having a Canadian baby and everything. And we're so far down the line with how we were having our baby here.
Maybe that
so
was
I was
helpful.
also trying to go to the gym as well, but to be honest, in the first film, because the character's like obsessed about keeping in shape and fitness, blah blah. I definitely wasn't in good enough shape for the first one compared to what I was for the other two, and what I probably should have been.
Is it true you had to watch it with a guard so that you didn't pirate your own work?
Yeah, as if I'm going to exactly, yeah. With all the 50 Shades films, I had to sit in like a sort of screening room at Universal Pictures in London.
Now, I know you're eating.
Guard.
We're both eating, but this story comes from an interview you gave to Elle.
Elle?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, it's on Elle. It's the modesty pouch story.
Isn't that fucking disgusting? Can I just explain a modesty pouch, what that is for people?
I think you should.
It's a little sack that you put all your bits in that's sort of flesh coloured, so that did the camera happen to go near there, it would just, you'd be led to believe that it's a continuation of flesh, or that you just don't have a penis.
You just don't have a penis.
You just don't have one, which is very strange when you're simulating sex. Kevin, who's the name of my dresser, the guy who sort of helps you, make sure everything's laid out and get in the costumer on the first 50 Shades, swore to me that it hadn't been used, but I just wasn't buying it. It looked a bit frayed around the edges. It literally said inmate number 3 on it. I was just like, my mind was just thinking, imagine the stuff that's been inside. You like to think they're fresh out of the packet when you're putting your bits in there.
Well, is it not unreasonable to point out that the 50 Shades of Grey films, they weren't cheap? I mean, these are quite big budget movies.
Yes, I know.
Could they not have stretched to your own modesty pouch?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yes, but they must have spent the money elsewhere. Like craft service.
So when it came to playing a very wealthy S&M, where did you go looking? Where did you go looking to play Christian Grey?
Honest, luckily I had the books with that, which are big help. And I don't think I'll ever play a character who's less like me in his...
no, actually, forgive me, but I would hope that the character you played in The Fall is rather less like you.
I'm going to disagree.
Oh, really?
At least he had the same accent.
Well, so what, up to the sociopathic murder spree?
He was a father, and with every character you play, you do try to find relatable traits and things that are close to you to make your job a bit easier and to feel like he's closer to you, So yeah, listen, of course I find that with Christian Grey as well, but like he's just, I don't know, the sort of materialistic aspect. I don't know, there's lots of things I find kind of gross about him, to be honest.
The last time when we went out for dinner on a restaurant review, we had a particular moment when you were saying, I'm about to appear in 2 films playing journalist types.
Yes.
And one of them was My Private War, the story of Marie Colvin, foreign correspondent for the Sunday Times,
25 years,
who died in Syria.
Yeah.
I got the impression from everything I've read that you actually found that possibly one of the hardest things you've ever had to do.
I really did. Jay, I struggled with it. It was very emotionally wrought by the end of it. We all were. It was just very cathartic, basically. It was we were using real refugees from any of the places that we were depicting. We were using real displaced people, and we had guys who were actually in Homs when Marie died, 2012, who were there under attack by their own government and first-hand witness to the brutality that took place and is still fucking taking place in Syria. And we'd have these guys who, were playing FSA officers with us, who were with us the whole time. And some days they would just they'd see something, maybe maybe weren't prepared sometimes for the reality of what a film set can be, and the sort of authenticity of what we're trying to achieve. And they would just break down. And
they found it too traumatic
to start crying. We dealt with people crying, like extras crying, and people who were sort of featured extras crying every day. There's just people crying, it was all just too much for them, and you wear that, that just seeps into Rosamund Pike, who plays Marie Colvin, and who's astonishing in the film, rightly so, got nominated for Golden Globe and whatever. And yeah, I mean, by the end, we shot it all in Jordan, and by the end, I was literally calling my wife every night in tears. I was like, I can't. This is like.
How long a shoot was it?
Not that long. I mean, we did 5 weeks in Jordan. And then there's 3 or 4 weeks in London, but I didn't have a lot of London stuff.
But the 5 weeks in Jordan, that's quite a long time to be under stress and not that far away from where the actual thing happened.
You can see Syria very easily. I mean, it's like, it blows, when you look at a map, it blows your mind that Jordan's a peaceful place.
I know.
Blows your mind where it's situated.
There's debris, I have to say. That was a serious amount of meat.
But I have to say, there's a serious amount of meat, but that was lovely, thank you. I don't want to say this while you're in the room. But there was stuff on the plate that I
do you not hold with?
Didn't ask for.
Were you saying like the carrots and the peas?
Yeah, carrots and peas, which I sort of didn't want.
You didn't want the vegetables?
Because I ordered my broccoli as my vegetable, you see.
Oh, I see.
That was going to satisfy my veg intake for the day.
You can take the boy out of Northern Ireland, but you cannot. Now, we've got the dessert menu.
Yes.
Have a look. We could both have creme brulee.
So sticky toffee pudding that will come with vanilla ice.
Oh, they've done that. I'll have sticky toffee pudding, please, with some vanilla ice.
And I'll have the creme brulee. Actually, we do share an interest in a restaurant, as in one that we like, from Hollywood, which is Noble.
Noble.
You've been there a few times?
I've been there many times. There's a guy called Saul who's the front of house there. And Saul used to be front of house at Dean's at Queen's. Right.
Dean's being one of the great restaurants of Belfast.
Michael Dean, who sort of for a long time has had the monopoly in Northern Ireland, and is a great chef. and I once went. It's my third name drop in one sitting.
I'm enjoying them.
I went with Rory Mcllroy. Even if you don't know about golf, everyone knows who Rory Mcllroy is.
You, Paddy Keelty, James Nesbitt, and Rory Mcllroy all played golf together.
No, we haven't. That's the dream team.
Yeah.
No, but Rory is from Hollywood as well, and like he's the one who's on the sign when you come into Hollywood, going in, home of no mention of me, definitely, and rightly so. And Rory and I went for dinner at Dean's and Queen's one night, and got very, very stuck into the Malbec. So much so that we're absolutely wrecked. And Rory had driven his car and sort of thinking, I'll deal with that later. And obviously we couldn't drive home. So my last memory of the night was being driven home in Rory's fucking Range Rover by Saul, who's front of house. Like we were so hammered that he'd like
front of house drove you both
he drove us home in Rory's car and then dropped me off. I was staying in the mate's house and then drove Rory home and then I guess got a taxi back.
That is very fun.
But Saul then opened Noble and it's been a roaring success and the food's unbelievable. Oh, lovely, thank you.
You know how they gave you some vegetables you didn't order? Look what's about to happen.
Just compliment the...
Of course, that's all it is.
With a nice little tokai.
Thank you. A nice dessert rosé.
No, Tokai. It's Hungarian botrytis dessert wine. Yeah, Jesus has nothing to do
you
with it.
You said about 3 words I've never heard there before in my life. It's quite exciting.
All right, and we have Somethin.
And I've got the Somethin.
Okay.
So yours is it's a Hungarian. Tokai is a Hungarian noble rot. It's this rot that you get on the grapes, which is actually quite prized. It's called botrytis,
right?
Because it ups the sugar levels, and it'll be like it's Christmas in a glass, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
It smells divine. Love it.
When you leave here, you're going back to Gloucestershire today?
Yeah, I will, yeah.
Back to the kids?
Back to the kids, yeah.
It clearly
and
is...
the dog.
And the dog. How many dogs have you got?
Just one.
What is it?
Leonard, a black lab.
Right. It's actually, isn't it? It's the law, isn't it, in the Cotswolds to have one of those? An Arga, a Labrador. What's your car?
Oh, I don't.
It's a Range Rover, isn't it?
God.
Yeah, it's a Range Rover. You've got a Labrador, an Arga, and a Range Rover.
Listen, that's that's where we live. That's the vibes. I'm just sticking to the vibe.
Is there a council tax supplement that you have to pay so you can have all of those things for living near Stroud?
Isn't it disgusting where you realise that that's just what you've become when you've fallen into every sort of cliched pothole?
Well, Jamie Dornan, thank you for coming up to town from your young family.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for letting me take you out to lunch.
Thank you for lunch. It was delicious.